Hello, here is Nicola, and I lead research efforts at Protocol Labs, in particular on Filecoin. This talk is going to be about visualizing decentralized storage networks. The goal is to inspire and give ideas to product and designers thinking about visualizing storage markets, decentralized storage markets. Differently from other blockchains, the core aspects of Filecoin are its storage services. We will see that in traditional blockchains, we have block explorers, monitoring tools. They are focusing on analyzing the network as a transactions network, while instead in Filecoin, the needs of the users are way more different than that. Users don't really want to know what's inside the content of a block. Users want to know what's the current price of for file storage, how good miners are on storing the files, which miner may be the best miners for their files. And so the first aspect that I want to focus is that Filecoin, beyond block explorers, which are of course very useful, needs storage explorers. And storage explorers should be focusing on storage services. There are several aspects that we will dive into later, which can be visualized of the Filecoin protocol that can be visualized from the public data that it's on the public blockchain. And so storage explorers should look more like as a true explorer for visualizing what's inside the miner storage, what's inside the sector. And similarly, if I'm a user, I want to see where my files are, who is storing them, how well have they been stored so far. The second aspect is less about storage explorer, more about visualizing the infrastructure of Filecoin as a whole. So we have a lot of monitoring tools showing how fast blocks have propagated, or how healthy is the PubSub network. But here, what I'm trying to push people to think about is that because we have public infrastructure, we can have public monitoring tools. Imagine if you work in a cloud company. In a cloud company, you must have some monitoring tools for your own cloud company. But instead of these tools being private to the company, these tools are, in the Filecoin case, completely public. So it would be great to have tools where anyone can monitor the storage health, can storage the failures the miner are having, how much the network is growing, how much prices are changing, how well specific miners are doing, and in general also how much are these miners being rewarded. So it's not just about storage explorers, it's also about ways to visualize public infrastructure for storage. And the third item is that Filecoin is not just a cloud for storage, but it is a market for storage. So there are a lot of items that we could be visualizing through more traditional UX. So for example, order books. This is how much files you could be storing right now if you wanted to. What is the market depth for storage, and how often deals are being made? And this is a little UX that we made a while ago that you can find the video online, and it was based on an early prototype. But I look forward for having more of these experiments on Filecoin. The one particular UX that I would like to describe is something that was built by several community members, and it's Spacegap. Spacegap is all open source, and you can find it at spacegap.github.io. Spacegap is a website that tries to be a storage explorer more than a block explorer. So the homepage, I took screenshots. We will hopefully you can go and explore the storage blockchain of Filecoin later on. But the first page shows some standard metrics, very similar to other block explorers, but this is focusing more on storage. So how much new storage, how many miners, but also more specifically, if a miner wants to add a new sector, what is the pledge? In Filecoin, the pledge is the amount of collateral that they will have to put in order to store a sector. And how much would be the reward for a sector? How much is the reward for a particular, for how much is the reward in Filecoin per petabyte provided to the network? And also, what is the sector fault fee? If a miner fails to store a file or a sector is this container of several files, that's how much they, for one day, that's how much they would end up paying. And so hopefully with more work, this will be more user friendly, but it provides already some guarantees on how much the miner is willing to put at stake for storing your files. And on the other part, there is a list of miners, how many pre-commits, and pre-commit is the technical term for new storage to be onboarded that each miner has, and what is the available balance of each of these miners. And so with this tooling, what we're showing is that there is enough data on the blockchain for providing a very high level overview of costs and storage being added through time. If you click on a particular miner, Spacegap shows you more info about that particular miner. So, for example, how much money do they have locked, how much money they're vesting, and how many more pre-commits they're planning to provide, and a lot of other details about how many faulty sectors does this miner have. And generally, you want to stay with a miner that has the least amount of faulty sectors, because faulty sectors means that your file is currently offline. There is more details about the miner, and some of these details are very peculiar, can be found on the blockchain, but you need to spend some more time to understand how to compute them. And there is one in particular here, which is what is the daily reward of the miner, what is the pledge that the miner has put as collateral, and also how many sectors the miner will have to lose in order to lose all the pledge. And that's called faults to debt. How many faults does the miner need to have in order to go in debt? So this miner has a lot of collateral, and so don't want to recommend any particular miner, but in general, a miner that has a lot of collateral is more likely to be thinking and working longer term because they have money at stake. Once you have a miner, you can see once you click on a miner, you can click. You can see also some part of their storage. What you see in deadlines is every miner divides storage. The storage of a miner can be divided in 48 deadlines, meaning the miner will have to prove storage 48 times per day. And here you can see visualized as 10 terabytes hard disks. Small, every rectangle there is an hard disk, and you can see this is how much storage this particular miner is storing. And what you see in red is sectors in that particular deadline that they're not currently storing, or that they have offline, or that they have not proven. What you can do, you can click on a particular deadline, and you can see the history of this deadline. So how healthy was this particular deadline for this particular miner? And a deadline contains several sectors. And in here you can see a very small visualization of all the sectors in this particular deadline by this miner. And in here you can see that some sectors are black, which means they have completely been lost. And some sectors are red, meaning that they are currently not being proven. And what you can do, you can also click on that particular sector to get even more information about the data. And that's the Storage Explorer aspect. And this one, very briefly, I want to touch on the market aspect. Spacegap does it a little bit poorly. There is more to improve there, but it shows how many deals have been done so far, what is the collateral put to back these deals, but also there is a list of what is the price that miners are offering for their storage. A much better service was done by Codify with the service called Storage, and they list every miner that is offering storage at a particular price and in their reputation. Similarly to Spacegap, the reputation can be can be built in different ways, and I hope that there will be a plethora of services assigning different types of reputation to miners. And all of this data can be taken. The important aspect here is that this data can be taken from the blockchain. And so just by seeing how often a miner has been taking deals, how often the miner has respected the deals being taken, we can craft very interesting scores or reputation system. And how do we go around doing this? Spacegap and storage from Codify and all the other systems are built from the Filecoin blockchain. And one way to get data from the blockchain is by running the Lotus node, which is the official client for Filecoin. There are many other there are several other clients that you can use, but the one I know and use often is Lotus, that has a specific RPC APIs and so you can query live the node and get data about the state. And then there is a state diff that offers GraphQL APIs, and some people do prefer to use that type of syntax. And also some block explorer are offering these APIs. If you want to learn more about how we built Spacegap and state diff, there is a full talk by Will and I. And thank you. I hope that this will be at least useful to think about the Filecoin blockchain, not really as a blockchain where there are transactions, but is a blockchain where there are files being stored, miners putting collateral at risk, and users on the other side, they want to make sure that they're storing their file at the cheapest price with the best miners. Thank you, everyone. Bye.